morning, wherever you are in the world. If you are outside the United States, hopefully you're having a good. I want to talk about something that I picked up. I was watching Damien's channel from the Security Guard channel, and he made a video on the Las Vegas incident where you have the person, I don't know, it was a tenant or the homeowner, calls the police because somebody broke into his house. That suspect held him hostage with a knife, and basically the Las Vegas officer had difficulty deciphering who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. I had never heard any commentary on that video. When I first saw it, and I was even asking myself, who the hell is who is who? Who's the suspect? Who's the victim? There's possibly radio traffic, right? Actually, there was radio traffic that gave a description. However, my question to you guys in security, corrections, law enforcement is the description that dispatch gives you, is it always correct? Is it most of the time correct? And these are answers that you have to resolve. In my opinion, no. I mean, they have given the worst information in the past. And what is that based out of? It's based out of the reporting party. It's based out of the dispatch. It's based out of witness information that is provided. Suspect information that's provided by other witnesses that's related to third parties, other parties. It gets convoluted. So can you depend on that information? Not is the answer we generally hear. The officer takes a shot. He hits the wrong person. The homeowner passes. I'm not really sure what happened. But what you have is a screwed up situation, and that was a difficult hit to make. So I was watching Damien's video, and he did discuss just taking that extra time to absorb all the information, and I agree completely with that rationale. Now, there are some, I want to say, there's some disadvantages, which we'll discuss, and it's pretty simple, guys. The disadvantage, if you wait a split second longer, is somebody can lose their life, or you can lose your life. In a hostage situation, it seems like most of the times that weapon is oriented toward the hostage. If it's oriented towards you, you're probably going to take less time to consider every single detail, right? But that's the reality. Is if you take time, someone's going to get hurt. Now, is that your responsibility? And this is where I really agree with Damien's rationale. Is this homeowner, this man, or this tenant failed to do something, right? Failed to protect his own home, and he's depending on police now to save for his own safety. Because you failed to protect your own home, now law enforcement has to go there and render the best judgment possible. Can you see where this can totally go downhill? And it went downhill, right? So when you roll up on these situations, and this is more towards the security profession, ask yourself, do you really have to resolve the situation with lethal force? Can you just stand by? Even if you're in law enforcement, can you just stand by and take that extra millisecond or split second to absorb information? Can you do that? I really think that there would be better decisions. Even with me, I've been in security and law enforcement for so long, over, I forgot, like 20 something years. There are situations that I've been involved in that I wish I would have waited an extra second. Think about this. You're pressing that trigger, pulling the trigger. Those bullets don't come back. Now you hit somebody, the wrong person, and now you're stuck with potential criminal charges, civil charges. The question to you is, do you think that these prosecutors are not going to hesitate to prosecute a security officer for shooting the wrong person? Do you think that's not going to happen? Do you think that if you get arrested, there's going to be protests outside the courtroom that are going to protest your arrest as a security officer? Absolutely not. Do you think that your shooting is going to be the topic of protest on the law enforcement social media channels? A lot of these social media personalities that are in law enforcement, they are networked with politicians, with people who are able to change the outcome of situations sometimes. In private security, who's going to save you, so to speak? Well, it's yourself. The only one that's going to speak up against your arrest are possibly the security channels out there, our channel being one of them. If it doesn't appear to be a legitimate arrest, we'll fight as much as we can for you. We'll argue for your release. But as you can see, even on this channel, we haven't even got that far. So is it really worth it? You can't take those bullets back. And let me ask you this. What if you don't pull the trigger? You stay at a position of cover. Like, what's going to happen? Yes, you can get injured. You can get hurt, but that's where you have to really think about the situation. Do I need to press the trigger? Do I need to pull the trigger? If I don't, will I get hurt? If the answer is yes, you might want to take a precision. Sorry, guys. It looks like we got disconnected. Look, if you're not out there training appropriately, you're not going to get better or be a sniper shot, so to speak, on the day of your calling. On the day when there's a situation that calls for your help, you're not going to all of a sudden get better on that day. So could you take that shot if you needed to? Okay. Is it worth losing your house? Is it worth losing your property? You know what wage garnishment is? So if you as a private security professional, you lose in a civil judgment, they can garnish your wages. So all of these security career opportunities that you get, like, hey, maybe I get a $40 an hour job or $30 an hour job or maybe $80 an hour job in 2 years. Well, it now became maybe a $20 an hour job because for 30 years, you're going to have your wages garnished depending on your jurisdiction. Is it worth it? Let's just say you're married, right? Or you're in a long-term relationship. Is your significant other going to stay with you for better or for worse? I'll tell you this, when money is an issue, money is a challenge, that adds on to the complexity of layers in a relationship. It adds to challenges, right? For better or for worse, it makes sense until you have all of these financial obligations. All because you decided to be John Wick and take that shot without even thinking about it. I don't know, guys. What your thoughts are? What are your thoughts on this? As for law enforcement culture, I could speak about it. Because I'm in it. I've been in it for a very long time, and what I'm seeing right now is law enforcement officers are taking too much time to render judgment. In situations that call for their help, they're waiting too long, they're processing information, and unfortunately, I think that social media and influences bear a lot of weight on the decision-making process. You don't see a lot of law enforcement officers out there, especially today, going hands-on when they need to go hands-on. They wait, and then they get punched in the face, they get elbowed, they get assaulted. That's what I am seeing right now. What you normally see when, when a law enforcement officer rushes to judgment, like in I can't speak in Las Vegas. I need to keep analyzing the video. All we know is that there's negative outcomes. But on other videos, these officers, police officers, it seems like they're rushing to judgment. Those videos, they come out because there was a negative outcome. But the reality is, in current law enforcement, there's too much hesitation. Now, am I saying that law enforcement officers should not hesitate? No. I absolutely agree with Damien's suggestions that even law enforcement take that extra second to absorb all the information. And then once you absorb all the information that's readily possible at that second, splits of a second, then you make that decision. So I'm an advocate for officers, especially police officers, making decisive action, not just standing there hesitating. When you're hesitating, you're not really taking all the information that you should. And I use the word hesitation in maybe a little different context, right? I work for police officers out there who it looks like they're hesitating. It looks like they, like, maybe from another person's perspective, they're not taking in all the information before they make a decision. You have those officers, but they're really analyzing the information, and they just take a little bit longer than others to act. And those officers I individually personally know, and they rarely make huge mistakes. So obviously this topic deserves a lot of other training points, talking points. I don't have a lot of time right now to discuss all of them, but I definitely want to revisit this topic. But I want to hear from you guys, whether hesitation kills, and what is the driving force for you to make a decision on something. And if you're pressed in a hostage situation, what do you think the best advice for private security is? And we're assuming that the weapon is oriented towards the hostage. We're assuming that weapon is not pointed at you yet. Like, what are your thoughts and impressions? Is it a good idea to wait a couple of seconds? All right, guys. So that's all I got. Otherwise, I'll just be rambling. All right, take care.